share the keynote address. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Namaskar. Hello, everyone. Distinguished members of the Indian and global actuarial community, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bozenna Hinton, and I'm the immediate past president of the International Actuarial Association. It's a real privilege to be here in India at a time that many describe as historic. India stands at an inflection point. We speak today not merely of growth, but of aspiration. The aspiration for India to become a Viksit Bharat, a developed nation within our lifetime. But what does a developed India mean to the world? A developed India is not simply a larger economy, it's a more resilient economy. It's a society with deeper financial inclusion, stronger social protection systems, more sophisticated risk management, and a long-term orientation towards sustainability. For the world, it means a stabilizing force in global growth, a vast and young talent pool, a digital public infrastructure that is already being studied and replicated globally, and a democracy that demonstrates that scale and complexity can coexist with institutional evolution. Yet, development is not a destination without trade-offs. With prosperity comes new risks, and this is where our profession becomes central. As India develops, its risk landscape transforms. 4 key considerations include, firstly, demographic transition. India's demographic dividend is often celebrated, but we know that demographic dividends mature into demographic responsibilities. Aging, longevity risk, pension adequacy, and healthcare financing will move from peripheral discussions to core economic concerns. Secondly, financial deepening. As households move from physical to financial assets, as capital markets expand, as insurance penetration rises, as systemic risk becomes more interconnected, balance sheets grow, leverage increases. The need for sound capital frameworks, robust reserving, and disciplined governance becomes indispensable. Thirdly, climate and sustainability risk. India is both vulnerable to climate change and central to global climate solutions. The financing of transition, whether through renewable energy, infrastructure, or adaptation, requires long-duration capital and risk assessment frameworks that are credible and transparent. And fourthly, technological disruption. Artificial intelligence, automation, digital platforms, these are not distant concepts. They are reshaping underwriting, pricing, distribution, fraud detection, and customer engagement today. So when we ask, how can actuaries play a role? The answer is at every one of these fault lines. Actuaries stand for disciplined, long-term thinking in a world often dominated by short-term incentives. We stand for quantification of uncertainty, for integrity in financial reporting, for balancing prudence with progress. In a developing economy, the actuarial profession is often associated primarily with insurance. But in a developed economy, it becomes a pillar of financial architecture. In India's journey to becoming a developed nation, actuaries must evolve from technical specialists to strategic risk leaders. In particular, we must contribute to pension reform and retirement system design. We must shape health financing models, that are sustainable and equitable. We must support regulators and policymakers in strengthening solvency and capital regimes. We must engage deeply in climate risk modelling and transition finance. And increasingly, we must embed ourselves in enterprise-wide risk management across industries, banking, infrastructure, energy, and beyond. But this is not a one-way story of India learning from the world. It's also a story of what India offers to the global profession. India represents scale. Few countries combine such population size, digital infrastructure, entrepreneurial energy, and actuarial talent. The speed at which financial inclusion has advanced, driven by digital identity, real-time payments, and public-private collaboration, offers lessons in leapfrogging traditional models. The Indian actuarial profession has grown significantly over past decades. It's built credibility with regulators and industry. It has produced talent that serves not only domestic markets, but global institutions. Increasingly, India is not only a back office to the world, it's becoming a centre of thought leadership, analytics, and innovation. And this brings me to the role of the International Actuarial Association. The International Actuarial Association represents the collective conscience and coordination of our global profession. As risks become borderless, whether climate, pandemics, financial contagion, or cyber threats, actuarial standards and collaborations must also transcend borders. For India, engagement with the International Actuarial Association is not just symbolic, it is strategic. Alignment with international standards strengthens domestic credibility. Participation in global working groups ensures that emerging markets' perspectives are reflected in frameworks that might otherwise be shaped solely by developed countries. The global profession views India not merely as a growing market, but as an important partner, a partner that can contribute to research, to standard setting, and to expanding the footprint of actuarial influence in new domains. We want to see the Institute of Actuaries of India, who's a full member of the International Actuarial Association, claiming its position on the world stage so that all can learn from the innovation and entrepreneurial spirit that drives so many. And here, I would also like to reflect on the role of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence will undoubtedly transform the actuarial toolkit. Data processing, predictive modelling, scenario testing, these will become faster and more powerful. Routine calculations may be automated, reporting may be streamlined, insights may be generated in real time. But the core of actuarial value will not be replaced by algorithms. Judgment, professional skepticism, ethical responsibility, the ability to communicate uncertainty to boards and policymakers in a balanced manner, these remain human responsibilities. If we embrace AI wisely, it can elevate the profession. It can free actuaries from mechanical tasks and allow them to focus on interpretation, governance, and strategy. It can enhance the reach of the International Actuarial Association by enabling global collaboration, shared research platforms, and more accessible education across geographies. However, AI also introduces new risks: model risk, bias, cyber vulnerability, and opacity in decision-making. Actuaries are uniquely positioned to contribute to governance frameworks around AI, particularly where financial consequences are significant. As India aspires to become a developed nation, what must it do pragmatically? It can invest in education and capacity building to ensure depth, not just numbers in our profession. It can maintain high ethical standards, particularly as commercial pressures intensify in high-growth markets. It can encourage interdisciplinary skills, such as data science, public policy, and climate science, without diluting actuarial rigour. It can actively engage with government and regulators to position actuaries as trusted advisors, not just compliance certifiers. And it can cultivate global collaboration, ensuring that Indian actuaries are contributors to and beneficiaries of global standards. Development is not merely about GDP per capita, it's about resilience per capita. When India succeeds in building robust pension systems, sustainable insurance markets, credible capital frameworks, and effective risk governance, it will not only transform its citizens' lives, it will contribute to global stability. And in that journey, the actuarial profession can be one of the quiet architects, designing the invisible structures that support visible prosperity. The journey to Viksit Bharat is ambitious. It is complex. It will involve navigating volatility, uncertainty, and trade-offs. But it is precisely in such journeys that actuarial thinking proves its value. Disciplined, forward-looking, and anchored in responsibility. So let us work together, globally and locally, to ensure that as economies grow, they also become more resilient. As markets deepen, they also become more stable. And as technology advances, it also remains guided by ethics and professional judgment. That is the promise of our profession, and that is the opportunity before us all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bozenna, for sharing your insights along with us. We now look forward to the Visionary Leadership Talk, and to present that, please join me in welcoming the Chairman cum Managing Director, the New India Assurance Company Limited, Ms. Girija Subramanian. A very, very warm welcome to you, ma'am. We request you to please address the August gathering. And as ma'am walks up on the podium, I request all our guests to please take a seat as well. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
A very good morning and namaskar to all the dignitaries on the stage, off the stage, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I want to thank Ms. Preeti Chandrasekhar and the organizers of the GCA for giving me this opportunity to express myself here. And I want to dedicate this talk to the actuarial profession in India and to a person who holds a very special place in my heart. It's a profound honor to stand before this distinguished gathering today. I speak to you today not just as the CMD of the largest non-life insurance company in India, but as an ardent admirer of the brilliant minds in this room. Looking out at this audience, I see the seasoned veterans who built the foundations of our industry, and I see bright, energetic student actuaries who will inevitably lead us into the future. We are gathered here today, bound by a shared monumental purpose. That purpose is the vision of achieving insurance for all by the year 2047. This is not merely a corporate milestone or a regulatory catchphrase. It is a national imperative. It's a promise to the citizens of our country that their dreams, their health, and their livelihoods will be protected. And I'm here to tell you that this promise cannot be kept without the actuarial profession guiding our path. Before we start and chart the course for where we are going, I believe it is absolutely essential to acknowledge how we arrived here, and more importantly, who paved the way. There is a deeply personal side to the actuarial profession that often remains hidden from the public eye and even from the wider corporate ecosystem. This is a side I have closely watched and witnessed as a daughter of an actuary. The advancement of actuarial profession in India has not been driven by institutional funding or corporate mandates. Rather, it has been built on the quiet, uncompensated, and immense sacrifices of countless actuaries. I know that many of you in this room dedicate your evenings, your weekends, and your personal time to advancing this profession. You mentor struggling students, you grade incredibly complex examination papers, and you draft professional standards, you advise industry councils, all without any expectation of any monetary gain. You give up time with your families to ensure that the next gen of actuaries is prepared for the challenges ahead. Your relentless energy and voluntary service elevate the entire industry. Such profound dedication should never go unsung. We see your sacrifices. We recognize your invisible labor. And on behalf of the entire insurance ecosystem, I offer you our deepest gratitude. As we acknowledge the incredible dedication of those in this room, we must also bow our heads in profound respect to the stalwarts of yesterday who are no longer with us. The current generation of senior actuaries and indeed the entire profession stands proudly on the shoulders of these visionary giants. It was their foundational mentorship, their unwavering guidance, and the countless hours of pro bono effort they poured into building this community that allows and which is allowed to thrive today. They laid the bricks of this institution without demanding a dime in return. Because of the robust legacy they built, actuarial science is no longer confined solely to the boundaries of our industry. Today, we are witnessing a remarkable evolution where the rigorous analytical framework of the actuary is finding critical relevance in wider non-insurance fields, from advanced data science and climate risk modeling to enterprise risk management in banking and large-scale infrastructure project finance. The world outside insurance is waking up to the unparalleled value of actuarial foresight. The seeds planted by our predecessors in a small niche of risk management have grown into a vast tree whose branches now reach across broader financial economy. When we reflect on the journey of the actuarial profession in the Indian non-life sector, we witness a story of remarkable evolution. Many of the senior leaders here will vividly remember her humble beginnings. There was an era when the role of an actuary in general insurance was nascent, sometimes viewed merely as a compliance requirement rather than a strategic necessity. The initial turning point occurred when the IRDA made the presence of appointed actuaries compulsory in the non-life sector. In those early days, the mandate was relatively narrow. The role was primarily utilized for the annual reserving exercise, ensuring that we had enough capital set aside to pay our claims. At that time, the talent pool specializing in general insurance was incredibly small. To meet statutory obligation, companies largely managed by leaning heavily on the wisdom of senior retired actuaries who had spent their entire careers in life insurance and pension. Alternatively, we relied on external consultant actuaries who would come from abroad and who would review our books and sign off on the reserves. The concept of dedicated, full-time, in-house, non-life actuaries was an exception rather than a rule. But in the landscape of Indian insurance was destined for a seismic shift. That pivotal moment arrived with the dismantling of the Tariff Advisory Committee and the subsequent de-tariffing of the industry. Suddenly, the protective umbrella of fixed regulated pricing was removed. Free market competition entered the sector with an unprecedented and overwhelming force. It became immediately apparent to every insurance executive that surviving and thriving in this fiercely competitive new era required a level of analytical rigor that we had never previously deployed. The role of the non-life actuary transformed literally overnight. You were no longer just looking through the rear view mirror to calculate historical reserves. You were thrust directly into the driver's seat of our business strategy. With de-tariffing, pricing became our most critical competitive weapon, and actuaries became the commanders of that arsenal. Every new product launch and every single pricing modification required the rigorous scrutiny and explicit approval of the appointed actuary, who balanced the corporate quest for a decent profitability with products that met policyholders' reasonable expectations. You became the ultimate guardians of our profitability and our commercial sustainability. As the complexity of our portfolios multiplied, so did the weight of your responsibilities. Actuaries soon became signatories to solvency calculations. You held the key to proving the financial resilience of our organizations to the regulator and to the public. During this period of explosive growth, the industry collectively realized that relying on external consultants or retired life experts was no longer a viable long-term strategy for the dynamic, fast-paced non-life environment. We witnessed a massive industry-wide shift towards building robust, full-time internal actuarial teams. Companies began to invest heavily in nurturing homegrown non-life actuarial talent. The profession expanded rapidly, and actuaries transitioned from being periodic external advisors to core strategic leaders. Today, you sit at the very heart of corporate decision-making, influencing everything from reinsurance purchase to digital transformation. Some of you have transitioned into roles like the CFO, CRO, and even the CEO. Yet, as far as we have come, we are currently standing on the precipice of another monumental paradigm shift. As our market matures, we are actively transitioning towards sophisticated risk-based capital frameworks and preparing for the complex implementation of international financial reporting standards. In this new world, the actuarial role is dramatically expanding into territories that were traditionally the exclusive domain of accounting and corporate finance. Under the risk-based capital and IFRS regimes, the finance function of a general insurance company will be increasingly, if not predominantly, driven by actuaries. The transition to these new standards is not just a change in the accounting rules. It is a fundamental transformation on how we measure value, how we assess risk, and how we deploy capital. The valuation of liabilities, the precise calculation of risk margins, the modeling of future cash flows, and the very presentation of our balance sheet will require your unique blend of mathematical foresight, statistical expertise, and financial acumen. Traditional accounting looks at what has happened. Actuarial science anticipates what will happen. In an IFRS world, those two perspectives must merge seamlessly. It is an incredibly demanding transition, requiring massive systemic changes and deep intellectual flexibility. But it is also the greatest strategic opportunity your profession has ever faced. This brings me back to our overarching national theme of achieving insurance for all by the year 2047. Navigating an evolving landscape of risk-based capital and complex global accounting standards, it's not merely an academic or regulatory exercise. It's an absolute foundational work required to build capacity if we want to underwrite the emerging risks of a rapidly growing, technologically advancing nation. We need efficient capital. We need to insure farmers against catastrophic climate events. We need to protect businesses against crippling cyber attacks, and we need to provide health coverage to the hundreds and millions of citizens. Taking on these massive, diverse risks requires a scientifically optimized balance sheet. Without the financial stability, the precise capital allocation, and the innovative product design that you provide through these new frameworks, achieving insurance for all by 2047 would remain an impossible dream. The contribution of actuaries in designing these new capital and reporting landscapes is the very engine that will drive our penetration into uninsured markets. You are the invisible architects of the social safety net that we will eventually cover every Indian citizen. By pricing complex risks accurately, by fiercely protecting our solvency margins, and by guiding our long-term financial strategies, you make it economically viable for us to reach the unreached. You allow us to step into unknown risks with confidence. Therefore, to the brilliant student actuaries seated in the audience today, I want you to truly understand the magnitude of the path that you have chosen. You are not just studying complex mathematics or statistical modeling. You are studying to become the backbone of a national mission. The examinations are notoriously difficult and the journey is long. But the reward is the ability to shape the financial security of 1 billion people. Keep pushing forward because we need your fresh perspectives and your technological fluency to solve the problems of tomorrow. To the seasoned actuaries, the mentors and the leaders who have guided this profession through its many transformations, thank you. Thank you for your tireless dedication, for your unsung sacrifices, and for paving the way with such high ethical and professional standards. You have built a profession defined by integrity and intellectual rigor. As we look towards the horizon and our 2047 vision, I ask every single one of you to continue innovating, continue to challenge the corporate status quo when necessary, continue to be the voice of reason and sustainability in our boardrooms. The future of Indian general insurance industry is incredibly bright, and it is a future that we will construct together, step by step, entirely driven by your unwavering expertise. New India Assurance remains committed to working closely with the actuarial community to expand access, deepen resilience, and contribute meaningfully to India's development journey. I thank you for this opportunity to share these thoughts and as we collectively contribute to the vision of Viksit Bharat. Thank you for this patient hearing. And have a lovely conference ahead.
Thank you so much, Ms. Subramanian, for sharing your insights with us. May I now request Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, Chairman, Life and Health Reinsurance India, Gallagher Re, to please join us and share the insights and address the august gathering. Very warm welcome to you, Mr. Kumar.
Respected President, Institute of Actuaries of India, and the dignitaries on dais. I should say good afternoon because we are running late, so I will not take more than 2 minutes to save some of your time and not standing between your coffee, biscuits, and so just I would like to make 2 points. One, we are very happy to be partner this conference as a platinum partner. And this is a privilege for us to contribute to the success of this conference, which is the Silver Jubilee edition of the GCA, the 25th one. I recall I have attended, I think except 2, I have attended all the global conferences of actuaries. The first one happened in Delhi in FICCI room in 1998, if I am correct. And I would like to name one person here who is fortunately sitting with us, who has basically expanded this conference from just Conference of Actuaries to Global Conference Actuaries. It is Mr. Liaquat Khan, the past president of Institute of Actuaries of India, who have basically believed in the vision that we can have a global conference, and it expanded, and we can see that it's really a very strong brand. So many partners, I think this is the maximum number of partners we could have had. Now our organization, Gallagher Re, Gallagher is a large US-based multinational group. We are into the insurance and reinsurance broking. We are in also the advisory services related to risk management and related to analytics. I would say we are quite large. We have more than 65,000 employees worldwide in 150 plus countries. In India also, I'm just mentioning because it's less heard of, we are present and contribution to the actuarial society a lot. Our employee strength is more than 15,000 in India, and we are in the business of insurance broking, reinsurance broking, analytics, and we have got in many cities the global capabilities of excellence centers. Now, the time, we don't have much time. I just want to, I prepared a lot, but I want to make just two appeal before the youngest actuaries. The first one is, I think many of us believe that we are doing our best in terms of what we have learned, what technology we are using. I think we need to do much more in terms of aligning with whatever the data, technology, tools, and the collaboration we can do with others. So we can do a lot. If we are not aligning with basically the available resources we have, probably in 3 to 5 years' time, many of us will fall into the bottom quartile of actuarial services, because some of the technologies which we require in years to come, the current technologies may not be sufficient to value the risk, to price the risk, and to manage the risk. So this is just an appeal that we must keep upgrading ourselves. And we never say that we have the technology which can live in the future. The second thing is, I have just seen that yesterday I tried to got some numbers, and in our country there is a huge protection gap. And for this, as an actuary, probably we are also responsible that, for example, let me quote a number. There could be maybe 15 to 20 crore customers who can afford the life cover of 5 billion, sum assured. What do they know that how much will that cost to? Can we reduce that cost also so that affordability increases? Can we do some innovation in pricing, segmentation, so that we can reach to? Now, given the amount of protection gap, I don't think the current way we are working, we will be able to fill the gap ever, because the gap is huge. The underwriting capabilities, the actuarial capabilities currently we have, we will not be able to basically fill up the gap. So we have to find out the new technologies of how we can reach the customers, we can issue the cover. Then only, otherwise, 25 years back, we were saying so much of protection gap was there. Now today also, the protection gap has increased, it's not reduced. And 10 years down the line also, we will keep saying that. So we need to find out the technological innovations in pricing the risk, in managing the risk, and we have to upgrade our technology supporting the businesses. And not only supporting, but also leading the businesses in particularly filling this gap. So these days I am trying to do my bit, but I appeal to every one of you to think some innovative ways, because the way we are currently working, I don't think we will be able to do that. And there is a huge amount of opportunity in the market. So why to lose that? It's not just in life insurance, health insurance, general insurance also. So in all areas, there are a huge amount of customers sitting, market is there, but we need to weigh innovative ways to reach to them, to price rightly, and to manage the risk. So that's an appeal I would like to make it. And that's a good contribution to the society by actuaries. So we must not be a supporting resource, but we must lead on this initiative. So that I would like to just appeal to all the actuarial students, actuaries, and the senior actuaries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your insights with us. May I now request Mr. Ajay Srivastava, appointed actuary and Executive Director, Actuarial Life Insurance Corporation of India, to kindly address the August gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Ajay Srivastava as he joins us on the podium and addresses us.
Thank you, and a very good afternoon to all of you. Ms. Preeti, my friend, President, Institute of Actuaries of India, Sir Shuvendubal, my friend, the Chairman of the Organizing Committee, the distinguished guests on the desk and off the dais. As we come together for the 25th Global Conference of Actuaries, it is my privilege and honor to be here to express my views from this platform where the seasoned professionals and key stakeholders from the insurance industry from across the globe have gathered to develop and harness ideas on actuarial pathways to Viksit Bharat, managing risks for inclusive social and economic growth. India is one of the fastest growing major economies with a current financial ecosystem characterized by one of accessibility, customer engagement, digital solutions, and a robust interoperative financial network. As India moves forward to fulfill its economic aspirations, Viksit Bharat 2047 initiative by the Government of India seeks to evolve India as a developed nation by its centenary of independence. This ambitious endeavor holds significant implications for India, promising enhanced global standing, greater economic prosperity, and an overall improvement in the well-being of its people. Insurance is a critical pillar of economic resilience and social security. As India advances towards its centenary of independence, the challenge before policymakers, regulators, and insurers alike is to ensure that the insurance protection becomes universal, affordable, and trusted. The Indian insurance sector is well poised to play a vital role in protecting households, mobilizing long-term savings, and supporting economic stability. At LIC, with our scale and social mandate, we recognize this huge responsibility, and we are geared up to play a leading role in this direction, which is in sync with our objective of providing life insurance protection across geographies and income segments. We have already started contributing in a big way to this mission of insurance for all by 2047 by achieving Guinness World Records title for the most life insurance policies sold in 24 hours, selling 5,88,107 life insurance policies across India in a single day. The forward-looking and customer-friendly reforms by the insurance regulator and broader policy changes by the Government of India through the Sabka Bima, Sabki Raksha Bill, the GST reforms, etc., aimed at enhancing transparency and affordability will not only serve as a catalyst for accelerating insurance penetration and density, but will also broaden the horizons of the insurance market. The gap in India's insurance penetration of 3.7% of GDP with a global average of around 7% is not merely a statistic. It represents that India's insurance journey is still unfolding, that millions of families are yet to be covered, risks yet to be mitigated, and financial resilience yet to be built. Expanding insurance penetration towards global benchmarks will essentially require innovation, affordability, trust, and importantly, the actuarial leadership. If India's insurance penetration has to move closer to global levels, the pathway runs through the actuarial leadership. The actuarial leadership includes products design that are inclusive but viable, pricing risks prudently but accessibly, strengthen solvency while expanding reach, convert volatility into resilience, convert probability into promise, and convert risk into reassurance to serve an economy that is becoming increasingly complex, digital, and risk sensitive. New age risks such as cyber threats, supply chain disruptions, and climate induced business interruptions demand innovative protection mechanisms. The urgency is evident, and the challenge is to make insurance simple, affordable, and accessible without making our balance sheets uncomfortable. The digitally empowered youth has redefined customer expectations that values transparency, personalization, and immediacy in financial protection. The emerging risk landscape therefore challenges traditional product structures, and the industry must therefore call for a central agenda for product innovation and resilience building, where products evolve continuously with the customer and the context. Harnessing cutting-edge technology to deliver exceptional customer experiences and optimize operational efficiency, significantly reducing reliance on physical, paper-heavy processes. Today, the actuarial profession stands at a defining intersection, navigating through the climate risk, longevity risks, longevity shifts, geopolitical volatility, rapid digitalization, AI-driven underwriting, and predictive analytics. Traditional actuarial wisdom remains our foundation, but the tools are evolving and expanding the scope of actuarial leadership. For nearly 45 years, until market liberalization in 2001, LIC was the sole life insurer of the country. The senior actuaries of LIC were not merely managing one company, they were shaping the actuarial foundations of the entire Indian life insurance industry. As I see some of them gracing this conference today, Mr. Liaquat Khan, Mr. G. N. Agrawal Sahab, I can name so many actuaries sitting here today. Gracing this conference today, we remain deeply grateful for their contributions and continued guidance, and take immense pride in recognizing this intellectual legacy. LIC of India is deeply entrenched into Bharat, and with its objective in sync with insurance as a nation-building activity, it has not merely insured lives, it has acted as a bridge between individual security and national growth, transforming small household premiums into nation-building capital. LIC proudly reflects an unwavering commitment to the excellence for building a sustainable future for the communities, moving India's insurance penetration towards global benchmarks, and ensuring that growth is not only rapid but resilient, and is even more committed to the Sankalp Yatra to achieve the noble cause, insurance for all and a Viksit Bharat by 2047. Our mission remains focused on fostering trust, upholding the values that have earned us the trust, delivering on our promises, and in serving our customers with integrity and care. We reaffirm our dedication to the welfare of our customers, staying true to our guiding principle, Yogakshamam Vahamyaham, your welfare is our responsibility. As the Global Conference of Actuaries celebrates its Silver Jubilee edition, I wish the Institute all success in coming days. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Srivastava, for sharing your insights. May I now request Mr. Hitesh Joshi, Executive Director with additional charge of Managing Director, GIC Re India, to please join us on the podium and share your insights and address the audience. A very, very warm welcome to you, Mr. Joshi.
Thank you. Distinguished guests on the dais, members of the actuarial profession, industry professionals, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to address this gathering at a time where our Prime Minister has set us the goal of Viksit Bharat, and alongside for the industry of insurance for all by 2047. In this background, I would like to compliment the Institute of Actuaries of India for achieving this milestone of 25th conference. Vision of a journey towards Viksit Bharat demands more capital, higher investment, and consistent growth in wealth creation, and greater resilience towards protecting and sustaining this wealth. One can readily see the connection between Viksit Bharat and Sustainable Development Goals. Insurance is directly connected to a few sustainable development goals and is a mechanism that supports majority of the 17 sustainable development goals by strengthening and ensuring financial resilience. As India's economy grows and matures, risks become larger, they get more interconnected, and overall landscape presents more complexity. Infrastructure risks, cyber exposures, climate events, pandemics, and the universe of emerging risks. These emerging and complex risks cannot be managed through traditional approaches in underwriting. They demand sophisticated modeling, capital optimization, and forward-looking scenario analysis. Modeling complexity arising from more integrated and comprehensive modeling will present new challenges. Reinsurers would work closely with actuaries to structure and transfer these risks effectively. Given the size of Indian insurance market and demographic dividend, alongside rising per capita income, recent developments in Gift City, India's aspiration to host a global reinsurance hub is possibly nearer than ever before. However, such ambition requires strong risk assessment expertise, and it is here that actuarial capability will be extremely important. Attracting international capital and players requires that we also have skilled and professional manpower and excellence in risk modeling, solvency assessment, and regulatory compliance. The actuarial profession will be central to this transformation. Changing face of climate and environmental risks are too well known to the audience here. These present challenges in measuring and understanding secondary perils and to model them. Climate policy transition risks, cyber and digital risks, including systemic risks like cloud outages and infrastructure hacks, AI-driven fraud and deepfakes present new challenges to the risk carriers and will need the expertise and contribution of the actuarial community. AI and automation are presenting a new universe of risks in an integrated and connected world. Most underwriting will need to be backed by modeling tools, and actuarial community will have a central role to play here. As I see it, from a reinsurer perspective, increasingly, the underwriting will be driven by modeling rather than by an individual underwriter. Of course, the judgment of an individual underwriter will underpin the entire underwriting decision-making quality. On the life side, aging population presenting longevity risks and new mortality trends post-pandemic present another set of challenges. While there is data explosion in traditional risk universe, a unique feature in emerging risks is that historical data is either absent or becoming obsolete and irrelevant at a growing speed. This will require a paradigm shift in expectations by insurers and reinsurers from actuaries, from historical trends to forward-looking risk assessment in uncharted territory. The question is also, if there is a need to invent new actuarial techniques to leverage data explosion on the one hand and the scarcity of data on the other. The next 2 decades, likely to be dominated by AI and super AI, will demand that actuaries move away from mundane tasks and lend their judgment expertise towards resolution of emerging risks. The community will have to actively engage with the advances in data science to continue to stay relevant, thrive, and contribute to larger national goals. At the core of reinsurance operations is to lend capital efficiency to insurers, and thus all risk assessment for a reinsurer will have to integrate capital lens to the underwriting decision making. This is already evident from the presence of alternative capital in risk markets, and with this, actuaries will need to have financial perspectives as part of their toolkit. Viksit Bharat and the goal of insurance for all by 2047 demands that new products are innovated, new risks are addressed adequately, product pricing is affordable, the risk is better understood to create higher efficiencies, and best practices in risk management are leveraged. This also requires that capital continues to flow into the risk markets. All decisions in the industry thus will need a great deal of analysis based on actuarial inputs. GICRE remains committed to this shared vision and mission of Viksit Bharat and Insurance for All by 2047, strengthening partnerships, enhancing capability, and contributing to a resilient and globally competitive insurance ecosystem. Evolving and adaptable actuarial community will continue to be a professional partner for the risk carrier industry in this journey and mission. From what we have witnessed at GIC Re and from the angle of a reinsurer needs and perspective, we are of the opinion that there is a tremendous scope for the actuarial community in India to move from the core task of reserving to the equally challenging, actually in a way probably more challenging task of pricing the risks more from a reinsurer angle. Again, we from GICRE have felt that for whatever reason, the actuarial talent is not channeled adequately in the reinsurance sphere. We hope that with the introduction of new reinsurers in the Indian mainland and a number of reinsurers in the gift city, this scenario will change. I think it was a very exciting beginning today morning when we got a master class from Dr. Devi. I think it was a really, there cannot be a better start to a conference because it was a master class and coming from an outsider who has a fresh perspective, it threw light on multiple aspects, say from product pricing, the product innovation, the conflict in the ecosystem, managing the conflict among the industry players. It was very insightful, very innovative, and I think there is a lot for all of us to learn. Once we are in the industry, we become used to the theories and practices and dogmas of the industry. Here is a person who is coming from the outside and lending a fresh insight and challenging our assumptions of how to price, how to penetrate, and how to run an industry. I think with this, I wish you all a very fruitful conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joshi, for sharing your insights with us. Ladies and gentlemen, now as we move towards the next segment of the day, which is a memento presentation to our esteemed dignitaries who are present on the dais right now, I request Mr. Anurag Rastogi, Vice President of IAI, to please join us upon stage. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please welcome Mr. Anurag Rastogi with a huge round of applause. Very warm welcome to you. As you approach the stage, we request you to please first felicitate Ms. Bozenna Hinton, immediate past president, International Actuarial Association, Canada. May I request you both to please step ahead of the table. We are truly honored to present this memento to you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Ms. Bozenna Hinton. Thank you so much. Next, we would like to felicitate Ms. Girija Subramanian, Chairman cum Managing Director, the New India Assurance Company Limited, India. We request Mr. Rastogi to please do the honors. We thank Ms. Girija for being a part of today's event. We shall now be felicitating Mr. Hitesh Joshi, Executive Director with additional charge of Managing Director, GIC Re, India. We thank Mr. Joshi for marking his presence in today's 25th GCA. We shall now be felicitating Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, Chairman, Life and Health Reinsurance India, Gallagher Re, India. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please applaud a bit more with energy, Mr. Sanjeev Kumar. And I request and thank Mr. Kumar for being a part of today's event. May I request Mr. Rastogi to please felicitate Mr. Ajay Srivastava, appointed Actuary and Executive Director, Life Insurance Corporation of India. And now may I request all the dignitaries present on the dais to please come forward of the tables, to please come together for a group photo. Ladies and gentlemen, our dignitaries have shared their insights today, and I request our dignitaries to please look into the camera for us and smile as we capture this moment for lifetime. Come on, everybody, join me in thanking all our dignitaries. We thank Ms. Preeti, Mr. Subendu sir, Dr. Ruchita, and all the dignitaries for being a part of the inaugural ceremony.